Welcome to the Tomb of Horrors.
Last we left our hapless fools. That seems to be the name that I've come up with them for them. They had made it kind of accomplish something. Let me just bring up the map to help me remember. They come through the entrance hallway. They'd gone through the misty archway. They came to the Hall of the Orbs. They crawled through a long tunnel to this like evil temple thingy. And
the gender bender through the
Otto got Odetted.
Yes.
Yeah, Otto became a woman, and they were like, screw this to this room. They crawled back and decided they were going to try the other crawlway, and that's where we left off. Mm-hmm. And so there was another orb. I don't remember just which one, but I think it was black at feet.
The other crawlway, there's the black at feet. That was when we went down last time that went to the temple. The red waist high one was the one we went through this time. Yeah.
So they took the red waist high, and that one led to a crawlway that went a short distance east before turning south to a dead end.
And we know how to deal with dead ends.
So Odette
pile drives the wall until it gives way.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a trap here that went off. It wasn't much of a trap though. The crawlway floor turns into it falls down into a ramp and dumps you into the room that you were going to go into anyway.
Huh.
So you just fall 10 feet. It's like it does 1d6 of damage. It's a really minor thing, but whatever.
Pulmonic used Featherfall, so Odette Feather falls down 10 feet to the floor.
Yeah, he just is like on the trigger with that and didn't know it was going to be a short distance. He's way back in the crawlway, so it would actually wasted more resources. And there's even like a comment in there. It's like, it just does 10. It just 10 feet. That's hardly anything, but it all wears the party down. So it actually wore the party down more because of the wasted featherfall. But and so in this room were three chests. One was gold, one was silver, and the other was oak bound with bronze.
And they have art for that.
Yeah.
Which I have shared.
So I could assume, and they should have. And that should be probably what I showed during the session. Let me just find it.
There's just 3 boxes. I don't think that art would change anything.
Oh, did I not show that art?
Nope, I don't think we saw that.
No, I'm sure I showed that, but maybe it would. Maybe. You know what? I showed it during the time where we both had the screen shared, and mine was just taking precedent. But that you wouldn't have seen it because of that.
Right, because I had the player map thing.
Anyway, for the person cutting this, you can cut the whole discussion about how we showed the art because that's not interesting. Anyway, so there's 3 boxes and
gold, silver, bronze.
Yeah, and so they decided to open the gold one first, and they were debating on how they were going to do it, and that's when Pulmonic, the wizard. Sorry, Robin's just looking at me.
I can see you.
We're doing our virtual tale telling.
If only you had more webcams, Robin.
Yeah, she could actually get in on a tale telling for once.
Yeah,
that's true. Though she's doing all the homeschooling right now, so. All right. Anyway, back to the thing. So Pulmonic says, "No, I can use Magahend."
Magahend.
And I love it because Brian was just like, you mean Mage Hand? No, Magahand. And
yep.
Yeah. Well,
we discovered a quirk that Pulmonic has developed.
Yes.
Quite possibly the more annoying than Jean-Claude's punning.
Not saying I'm going to steal that for sure, but I am for sure stealing it.
Yeah.
Featherfall.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, he didn't think of it on that. But he got this a session ago, but he kept forgetting to do it, and I reminded him. So he's definitely started now. So he uses Magahand and opens the chest.
I think Otto goes back up into the crawl space before this happens.
Yes,
if I remember.
Everyone was back up in the crawl space,
expecting the poison to fill the chamber.
Oh, something horrible is going to happen.
And I It didn't specifically say in the adventure that the chests were locked. I later noticed the art had pictures of locks on them, so I was like, okay, they're locked. But the first chest, it didn't say it was locked, so it just worked because I was like, oh, I guess it's not locked. So he opens the chest with Mega Hande, and out pours a whole bunch of poisonous snakes everywhere. It fills like the whole room with poisonous snakes.
Yep.
And
there's art for that too.
At least two of the characters can understand what animals are saying, and one of them can speak to animals because there's a ranger. Our Farshim is a ranger. He's like, I didn't think this was going to come up. But anyway, they ask what the snakes are saying, and they're all saying things like, what the heck, where am I? What just happened? I was in the middle of catching a rabbit. What's going on? I'm so mad. Whoever did this is going to pay. And they're just going berserk
they're all
and swarming around.
They're really angry. They're going to bite the first person they see, essentially.
Mm.
So Farshim tries to talk them down and calm them down with like, it's okay. We're your friends. We're not the ones who brought you here. We're on your side. We'll help you find your way out of here. Da, da, da. And then he rolls critical failure. They're like, we heard someone. Yeah, let's bite him. Yeah, we're going to get him. So they all start swarming, and they start piling up right underneath
the crawl space.
Yeah, so they're just all swarming, piling up there.
Fortunately, that everything plays exactly into our hands, and so Odette's giant chest comes to the rescue. So yeah, I dig out of there a whole bunch of flasks of acid that I have.
Oh.
And I just start pouring acid on the pile of snakes that are piled up underneath the crawlway.
I just assumed you were going to drop the chest on them. It's like
I could have done that, I suppose.
But from chest to chest.
Yeah. So I dump a bunch of acid on them until there aren't any snakes anymore. There's a whole lot of snake goo on the floor. But yeah, John adjudicates that basically they can't hurt us, but we can hurt them. So you kill them all. All the snakes are dead. Yeah. So Odette then jumps down into the room again, trying to avoid the snake guts, but not really effectively doing. I think I just slightly missed my athletics check, so I stepped in the snake goo, and it was
rats.
Because they had tried Mega Hande on the second chest, and it didn't work, so they had to open it. They had to pick the lock or Odette the lock. Bust open the
they're all like, do you have proficiency in these tools? And I'm like, yeah, I have proficiency in barbarian's tools. I have a crowbar. And so Brian, I used the.
You're kind of roboticizing. Do you want to try to like disconnect and reconnect and see if it's better?
Sure.
All right. So you were saying you didn't have thieves' tools, I think.
Yeah. I had barbarian's tools instead. Crowbar. And so I opened up the silver chest that was in the middle. Wrecked it up real good. It turned out it was iron chest that had been like laminated with had silver leaf or whatever on it.
It was discovered from that it was just silver plated.
I kind of wrecked it in the process.
But inside that one is a crystal box, and in the crystal box is a little pillow, and on the pillow is a ring. And
now we slightly misunderstood the description. We thought there was like a smaller chest made out of crystal inside it, but it was actually like a box that was sitting on top of. It's like turn a fish tank upside down kind of.
Well, actually, then I looked at the art, I think, and they showed it like it was like a box, but I interpreted it as like a thing you lift off, so that's how it was. So it was like a little crystal thing you lift off the pillow. That made the most sense with what happened there, but whatever, doesn't matter. So they were immediately suspicious, so they brought out Mega Hande again. Everyone backed off, and they used it to lift the crystal thing. And sure enough, a whole bunch of darts fired out of there and they all just hit the roof. Everyone was completely out of range, so nothing bad happened.
Yeah. And I thought it was very karmic, and everything was all like fit together because we had previously gone through a bunch of traps where the ceiling was shooting darts at the floor. And so now finally the ceiling got its comeuppance.
That's right. Yeah, take that, ceiling.
Yeah, a whole bunch of darts hit the ceiling. So it's like poetry. It rhymes.
So they carefully carried away the mage hand carried the ring to Pulmonic, who very carefully and suspiciously cast identify, but discovered it to be a regular, nothing wrong with it, ring of protection.
+1.
Yeah. So I forget who took it.
Yeah, I
think it was Farshim maybe.
Yeah.
And
I already had 3 items that I was attuned to, so I didn't take it.
Good enough. And then for the last chest, I don't remember why exactly, but I know that
I'm trying to remember what was.
Polmanic got down into the room. I know that for sure.
Oh right. Oh no. I
Everyone,
remember this now. Yep.
yeah, everyone except for Polmanic and Odette got into the room, and no, they didn't. They didn't.
Yeah. Odette was still down there.
Right. No, and Polmanic was up there, but he'd readied something. That's the
Yeah.
thing so Odette went to open the oak chest with bronze. Right, and he had previously used detect magic on the room and had determined that there was an aura of
all right conjuration
on the silver chest.
Yeah.
And so he readied Gustav Winde. No, or Gustav Wind, maybe it was.
Yeah.
Gustav Wind. That's
Gustav
what it was.
Wind.
He readied Gustav Wind to for when
whatever comes out.
Yeah, whatever comes out. Assuming it was going to be poison gas again, right?
Yeah.
So Odette busts open the chest and nothing.
I immediately jumped back from the chest as soon as I busted open.
Yeah, but nothing comes out of the chest per se, but a giant skeleton is instead teleported into the room behind where she jumped to, gaining surprise. But because Polmanic had readied Gustav Wind, he actually cast that on the giant skeleton immediately and pushed it back into the corner. Now, it's actually size huge, so it can reach the entire room anyway.
The art does not do that justice.
No.
Well, I mean, that's what the 5th edition version was. It was huge, so I don't know. Whatever. That's how I played it anyway. And so it, I mean, the room is also pretty small. But anyway, it lost its surprise round from that. We roll initiative. It wins initiative. So it starts out by taking its scimitar and hacking Odette to pieces. But not literally to pieces.
It hurts. I think I went down to 7 hit points or something like that. I was pretty far down. Badly hurt.
Yeah. So it opens with that, but the party has stuff in store for it. Specifically Odette, who leads off.
I rage and I bust out my +3 maul and my I go to town on this thing.
You got all the right stuff for dealing with a giant skeleton.
Yep, it's bludgeoning damage. It's a skeleton, so I tear through that thing. I did 50 hit points damage.
She just busts off a bunch of its ribs, tears it to shreds. It's still alive, and Jean-Claude wanted to attack it because Robin just really wants to fight things because she made a fighter, and so but Polmanic was in the way, and she's like, I just push him out of the way into the snake goo. And Tim wasn't paying attention. He was there, but he just wasn't paying attention and didn't say anything. So I was like, okay, it happens.
A sausage out of a tube.
Yeah. So Jean-Claude pushes Polmanic out into the snake goo, jumps out, and pulls out his Holy Avenger, specially designed for destroying undead like this. Pulls it, charges it up with this massive glowing white glow, and miss.
Yep.
But she gets 2 attacks. Miss. So, Robin was really excited for combat, but
yep. And then I think did Farshim? He didn't fire an arrow at. He was going to fire some arrows.
Farshim was going to fire an arrow, but it sucked. So I think he jumped down into the thing and slashed at it with his short swords.
Yeah.
And then Theophania shot it with an arrow, which isn't super effective, but somewhat effective. I don't exactly remember what Polmanic did.
He gust of winded or gust of winded, and then after that, I don't remember what he did either.
Oh, he did that. He did it was an ice-based spell. I don't remember what he called it though.
Kahil 2K.
It's one of the lower level, like a level 1.
Roasts.
I can't remember what he called it or even what it was. But anyway, it did an area effect and blasted everything with cold. And it's interesting because...
Was it Ike Niki? Nike?
Yeah,
I think that might be what it was. No, because... Anyway, but
Icky was in there. Icky was...
Yeah.
Icky something.
Icky Knife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Icky Blast or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it was something icky.
he casts Icky Blast, and but he has spell sculpting, so he can. He basically gives all of his allies evasion, so they all get saves, and I think everyone's saved. And actually, interestingly, the skeleton had evasion as well, but it failed its save, so it took half damage. It finally gets its turn, and it's like, now's my chance to kill off another character. This thing can slash up Odette, but unfortunately, it gets 3 attacks, but it missed twice and hit once, and she was still barely standing by the end of that. So, and of course, Odette finished it off easily with her massive maul.
Yep. And I had, when I'm raging, I've got resistance, so it wasn't doing a lot of damage to me, even when it was hitting. So I pulverized that thing. And then I was still raging, so I smashed the other chests while I was at it.
Yeah, it just smashed them all to smithereens just because why not?
That turned out to be important later on, though.
Huh.
Once again, my policy of smashing everything is finding all the secrets that were meant to be like subtly like, oh, you'll have to. But we'll find that out later. First, we deal with what's in the bronze box, the oaken bronze one,
which was nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're just so stupid.
Yep. But having smashed all these boxes to flinders, we discovered there was a secret passage or something underneath the silver one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they go into the secret passage, and they can go either. It's like a crawlway down there, and they can go either south or east. They go east, snakes east, and then north, and then east again, and then they come to this this stone wall that's been like broken open,
utterly smashed wall,
and they come out into this 10 by 10 room that has spikes on the bottom, but they're all like covered in ash, like they've been burnt.
Yep.
They look up, and there's like the damaged opening, and up above is like a room with all the plaster smashed off the walls, and so
it's like, we found yet another way back to the beginning. Yep. It leads into the old crawlway that goes to the temple place.
And or to the lever room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lever room, according to my map. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I have too many layers and they're not aligned correctly. Yes, it goes to the lever room. Yeah.
And the lever room goes to the spike pit.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was basically pointless, except although I think until this point they didn't have a way to get out without dying.
Right. From this particular region, we didn't know the way back because we had used a teleport thing.
Oh yeah, the teleporter brought you to the
gargoyle room with the broken arm.
Yeah. So they didn't know how to get back out, but now they have a way out. So
right. So that's good.
They gave them in the chest room. Go back to the Hall of Orbs. They decided to search more. No. Actually, this had already happened. I think. No, maybe it's happened now. I don't remember. But they hadn't opened. There was those 2 doors, and like just normal doors, and one they had determined was fake, and the other one they hadn't opened yet. So first, I think they went to the fake door just out of
spite,
and
Odette ripped it off the wall.
Odette just tore it off the wall and rolled super well. So she tore it off the wall, and she tore it off with such force that it smashed against the other wall, chipping the plaster and leaving what seemed to be
an outline.
It's like a door-shaped outline and cracks on the plaster where they had previously attempted to search but failed. So they searched more diligently.
Yeah. And once again, random smashing of walls discovers a secret door.
Yeah.
This was the room with the studs on the stonework on old tiles.
The secret door leads to a featureless chamber with tiny room with no obvious exits. But there's like metal studs all over the walls. So they start searching these metal studs. Don't find anything. They try searching again, don't find anything. So they give up.
Well, as I recall, Odette did try smashing them a bit.
Yeah.
But for once, smashing stuff wasn't really accomplishing much. So we're like, yeah, screw this room. It's boring. It's not electrocuting us. Like metal studs, we're like, oh, obviously metal studs. There's going to be lightning everywhere, right? But no, it's not electrocuting us. So what's going on with these metal studs? I don't know. I don't care. What the hell is this room? Let's leave it.
Dumb.
This is a dumb room.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure there's something to it because as of the end of the session, that's all we got with it was like, there's a room with metal studs. Empty room. There's got to be at least some kind of screw you in here. We haven't even found the screw you in here.
So they try the other door that wasn't fake, and with a mighty heave, rip it open and discover that it is also fake.
It's all fake. They're both fake.
They got lucky though, because I missed reading that those are supposed to have spike spear traps in them that spear you when you try to open them. So I had
There's art for that.
I'd accidentally, I was actually seeing the art made me realize I'd missed it. But we determined that somehow it wouldn't have gotten us anyway. I forget what it was, but anyway.
Kind of out of reach or something, or most people weren't standing around, or maybe Odette's just like wild.
They both actually, now I remember.
Well, the first one
Theophania had made good checks on her trap findings, so she would have determined there was a trap there. And they would have disabled it. So that's what we just said happened. Actually, what happened is I forgot, but we just said she disabled the trap. So that's fine.
Yeah, the first one, her find traps was so good that she knew it was fake to begin with. And the second one was good, but not quite up to that level. So,
so they decided to search all the blank areas again in detail, because that's where they found that one secret door, and they don't find anything. So finally, they're like, okay, well, we've exhausted everything except for this misty archway. All right, well, let's try. We tried every combination up to 3. Let's try every combination up to 4. Okay, how long will it take to try every combination up to 5? Okay, it'll take an hour. Fine, we'll do that. They try every combination up to 5. Nothing happens.
Like the one in the entry hall?
No, this is the one in the hall with the orbs painted on the walls.
Oh,
at the end of that one, there's another misty one.
With an olive stone, a russet stone, and a citrine stone.
That's right.
One of these colors.
Yeah. And this one, our mists are actually white. Orange was the one in the evil temple that changed gender. But anyway,
Right.
I think Farshim was like, "Screw it, I'm going through." And Odette was like, "I'm almost dead.
I've got 7 hit points.
There's no risk of if I go through."
Yeah.
Like it does.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like going through one of these archways can cause an effect that will, cause you problems after you die anyway, right? So
yeah.
There's no long-lasting consequences from archways that we've gone through in the past. So clearly, the worst it could do is kill me, right? That's not a problem.
Yep.
Or reveal your deepest, darkest
secret. Yep.
I couldn't. It was so funny that Odette was the one who chose to go through there. So she goes through, and everyone waits around 5 minutes to see if she dies or not. And finally, they hear her peeping from around the orb, how you'd get into this room.
Yeah.
And I was saying is like,
can someone come here?
It's like, no, I was lamenting how this dungeon has been like stripping away everything we rely upon, all the things we rely upon, and I'd been telling others not to rely on things, but I hadn't followed that myself. First I lost my mustache, but now I've lost my belt. Yes.
Along with everything else.
So this one is the one that teleports you back to the entrance hall completely naked. You've lost all your gear. So Odette comes back.
And it's particularly interesting because I was like, hey guys, you're low level, but you can have all this epic level gear.
Yep.
And nope, it's all gone.
So I made a barbarian whose dump stat was strength. Because I got to start out with a belt of storm giant strength, which simply sets your strength to, what is it, 26, 29? 29, yeah. And I'm like, well, my original strength score doesn't matter, so I'll just make that my dump stat and have this belt. Because I come from the later versions of Dungeons & Dragons where dungeon masters aren't colossal dicks and take away all your magic items like this. Yeah. Although
now that you mention that, that's just the second time I've done that to you, Brian.
Well, let me see now.
I'm thinking of Anthedon. It's a little different, but
Anthedon was a little different.
But that's
I mean, there was all the disjunctioning that he got at one point there, but that was right before he was going to die anyway. So he wanted all his stuff to be destroyed.
Yeah, I know it was a little different.
Anyway, a bit of a digression to a previous campaign.
So, but I mean, that's just it. You have this deep, dark secret why you can't go back to your hometown, right?
Yeah, it turns out I'm actually fairly weak. I'm below average strength.
What, you have an 8 in strength?
Well, I picked 8 in the thing, and then I got a +1 because I'm human, so it's actually 9.
9.
So yeah, I'm barbarian with a strength of 9. And no weapons and no armor and no clothing of any kind. I don't even have my giant chest.
The whole time Odette is hauling around this giant chest, and now
it's gone. My chest. My giant chest.
It all works out because before she lost her chest, she got a chest to replace it. Anyway,
So,
so
yeah.
she's peeking around the corner completely naked, and I think someone
Jean-Claude had a spare set of clothing.
right, because he has he does like speeches and dress. He has like a bunch of extra sets of clothing, so he just gave her one of his extra sets of clothing.
I actually had a bunch of extra sets of clothing as well, but they were all in my chest. So,
and I mean, everyone can have as many common items as they want. So everyone has spare swords and whatever. So or clubs, or I don't know what you
I got a non-magical maul just to stick with the.
Yeah. You feel a little taste of home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Odette has enough to fight with, but is significantly diminished in
very significantly
power.
Diminished. Yeah.
10 less to hit, 10 less damage.
Oh yeah. It's pitiful.
They did talk about going back to town to like try to buy a few items, and I said, yeah, you can. They have lots of money because they're successful adventurers, but you also can't find everything you want in this town. So I said, you can buy one uncommon and one rare, but they also didn't want to get back to town right away, so they're like, okay, well, we'll do that when we have a natural break.
I still just have 7 hit points, so I have not yet successfully died.
So now they're just like they've exhausted all their options, and I don't remember why they.
Because I know why. There was Polmanic had like fin de objecte or something.
Oh,
like
yes.
Auger. Fin de Auger.
Yeah.
And so he cast fin de Auger to try and find Odette's belt. Where is it? If it's within 1,000 feet of where you are, it'll say which direction the thing is. And
very clever.
Yeah, and so it pointed to the southeast, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And we sort of, look at my map here that I've been drawing, and well, that chapel place is to the southeast, with the girlification arch and the pews filled with coins and poison gas.
Yep.
So,
I believe you left before you finished that room, didn't you?
Well, we did sort of go over it, but we ended up like
they finished it as far as they knew. It turns out there was something they missed, which we will get to soon. But they thought they had finished it.
Yeah, we went back there just to see if, maybe it's on the altar that we destroyed or something, whatever.
And before they actually went back, because they were doing the fin de Auger,
we did this right away.
Polmanic asked if he could
use clairvoyance.
Yeah, to like view the object. So I was like, okay. So he views the object, and they see this huge, actually not that huge, but they see this room full of piles and piles of treasure, both like just piles of gold, but also just like a bunch of like objects and stuff. And sure enough, they see Odette's chest and all her items and her belt all like stacked up there in this room. And they also see sitting on a chest this gem-encrusted skull sitting there.
I also have a picture for this.
Yep.
And so Polmanic starts investigating the room, and while he's doing that, I'm making secret checks. And there's like in the picture, which I think is probably the picture you just posted. There's like a note pinned up.
This is a different picture.
That's not the right one.
John showed us like the fancier, more modern looking art.
No, it was actually from the old one, but
okay.
I just have.
Or there's a close up of the bejeweled skull.
Oh. There is a close-up of the bejeweled skull, but it doesn't seem to have a note on it.
It might not.
The version I remember you showing had like color and stuff.
Oh, yes, that's right. I showed the one from the new version.
Yeah.
So I can probably paste that in.
I'll post the like original skull.
Yeah, but there was also in the modern version, it was the skull with the jewels.
Yeah, I think I picked it from the modern version because I was going to show the original version, and if they actually get there. Yeah, this is, so I just pasted in the picture. So just uploading. Anyway, there was a picture of a note, and and he's like, what is that? I'm going to check, and I'm like, and can I try to read that note? And I was like, okay, sure, make a check. I'm making more secret checks, and so I tell him, oh yeah, it's a scroll of wish, but that was when the skull
trap
received
goes
the
off.
scry sensor and immediately tried to rip Polmanic's soul from his body. Now that didn't work properly through a scry sensor, so when he failed his save, it just killed him and turned him to dust. It didn't permanently steal his soul. He became aware that would have happened if he had been physically present.
Yeah.
And so he just crumpled to dust and reappeared 5 minutes later in a safe place.
Yeah.
Was he narrating at the time? He's like, I see a crystal skull, and there's this note.
Yeah, I think so.
It looks like it's a wish spell.
Yeah. And then, yeah. So
Yeah.
this skull trap is a really high level trap. We're gonna have to.
So Pominic comes back,
Yeah, your chest and maul are well guarded.
comes walking back, and I have everyone make a perception check. And some people got as low as like 6 or something, and I was like, it's okay. As long as you got 5 or better, you notice that he's obviously wearing a wig.
Yeah.
So, and they're like, "Are you wearing a wig?" And he's like, "No, I've always had this. Is my real hair. It's always been like this."
So did anyone snatch the wig off of his head, or?
No, we are a unified party that works together, and yeah, we're not.
So you let him believe that.
Yep.
So
All right.
that happened. So they head back to the evil temple place and they give it a more thorough search, and they discover what they had not discovered the first time. In the southeast wall, opposite the archway, there is a tiny slot in the wall about the size of a coin.
And it has the letter O inscribed over it. And so Odette is immediately like, O for Odette.
Yes.
I was meant to find this. Everything that has happened. Everything that has happened so far, including this, it's all fitting together into, like it all means something. It all fits together. It's like taking me on a like not a vision quest, but this is all an allegory or something. Yeah, it all fits together. It all makes sense. This slot is for me. I have to put a coin in this slot, and so I went and got one of the gold pieces from the pews, and I put a coin in the slot.
And everyone backed away, and it tinkle, 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 and then the stone wall, the slab, it moves down and reveals a hallway on the other side that leads to stairs going immediately down south.
And so we finally found how this guy managed to fund the construction of this giant ridiculous death maze and got all his treasure and stuff. It's coin operated.
So they head down the stairs, and it immediately turns west, and it terminates at a door. And so I think it must have been Odette knows just what to do.
Yeah. Usually you smash the door, right?
Right.
But this time around,
right. Yes.
I have a strength of 9.
And no battering ram.
I've lost my battering ram, and I have also learned something from all this. Is that you perhaps you shouldn't smash literally everything and charge straight ahead into everything. So I carefully open the door.
Which is interesting because it's like the one time where that would be really useful. So she still had to make a check because the door just opens up into a pit. Like there's just a pit on the other side, and you have to unless you specifically are being careful, you will just automatically fall into the pit. So because she was being careful, I gave her a save, and she just managed to hold on to the door and swing back out and not fall into the pit.
Yeah.
So they all jump over the pit. And Jean-Claude is bragging up his boots of jumping, how he can jump 3 times the distance. And they calculate it out, and it's he can jump 40 or 50 feet or something crazy.
She's right behind you. We could find out how far can Jean-Claude jump?
Yeah. I don't think she knows offhand, but so he does a running jump, and he jumps so far that I'm like, all right, you jump so far, it's 63 feet. She does apparently know. So that's super far. So I'm like, okay, you jumped 63. Oh yeah.
I should also note that Jean-Claude is drunk.
Oh yes.
Oh, was that his personality? Oh right, that was a personality quirk. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure Jean-Claude was like, oh, I can jump that. I can totally jump that. Just watch me. Everyone watch me jump.
So he takes a big running
Avenger and jumps.
hold my beer.
hold my holy Avenger, bro. So anyway, he takes this big running jump and jumps so far that I'm like, you jump so far right over the pit and you crash into the opposite door. It goes flying open, and there's a pit on the other side of that door, and you fall into that pit.
Yep. Jean-Claude jumped over the first pit into the second pit.
Yeah, and falls to the bottom. I think that Pominic cast Fiether Foul, but he drifts to the bottom, still hits the spikes, but resists the poison. So it wasn't nothing really much came of it except for embarrassment. But
yeah, like a hit point or 2 or something.
Yeah.
Yep. So we retrieve Jean-Claude,
and everyone carefully jumps that pit and goes up to the next door. And by this time, I should have said there was another door. There was a pit, an area just as long as a pit and then a door. And then there was another pit, an area just as long as a pit and a door. And so they're suspicious of this door, obviously.
Yeah.
So they carefully open it, pulling it inward, and sure enough, there's another pit there.
Yep.
So they just carefully jump the pit,
Yep.
no problem, move on.
Mm.
And
Okay, Jean-Claude, you don't have to jump 63 feet. We get it.
Yeah,
you know how to do it.
Yeah, and Odette's like, this all just keeps on fitting into the pattern. Don't rely on your magic items. They'll go overboard and to lead you astray.
Yeah.
I have learned this lesson. You must now learn it too. And Pomanik's about to learn it.
So the
Just in case
passageway.
John forgot about this part.
Oh, did I?
Well, it's just coming up. It's the.
Oh no, I did. Oh, I said unless I forgot about it. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the passageway immediately turned north and goes north for quite some distance.
I think that he did this thing before we went to the end of this thing. It was.
Oh, maybe I don't know what you're talking
This is
about.
the robe of eyes backfiring on him.
Oh yes, this is right around this time.
Yeah.
So he started to sense, because he can see into the ethereal plane. He started to sense like demonic forces, like shadows of them, like starting to form around the edges of his perception, like they were being drawn to his ethereal sight. And so he did some checks and kind of determined mystically that, like, yeah, it's the fact that the robe of eyes can see into the ethereal plane is drawing these creatures, and so it's like some kind of magic of this place, and so it's not really safe to have the robe of eyes on at all times. He decides to just put it on demand and take it off, generally speaking.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he disrobes, and then we're all like, "Did you bring any spare clothing?" And he's like, "No, I'm wearing clothing underneath the robe. It's not anything I'm wearing."
He's like, I'm not just naked under a robe of eyes.
Yeah.
Especially if you're wearing a robe of eyes naked, make sure you don't put it on inside out, because
Yeah.
Pretty gross.
It's like he just came out of the shower, the whole adventure.
He's just wearing his bathrobe.
it's like everyone's like, we're leaving. It's like he just like jumps in the shower, grabs his robe of eyes. I know, guys. So they head north, and as they head north, they come to this door, and beyond the door, they can hear the sounds of like joyful celebration, excitement, that sort of thing. But the door,
It's stuck.
it's stuck. It's not even locked. It just won't budge at all. But it doesn't seem to be fake. So they start trying to bash it down. It won't budge. But
And
they
I'm
notice
like-
that.
I'm like, maybe we shouldn't be bashing this door down, because that's the lesson I've been learning this whole time and stuff. It's worked great till now, but yeah.
They do notice they're damaging it a little bit, so they just actually start hacking the door to pieces.
Yep. So everyone's just
And-
wailing away at the door.
They discover its only weakness, that it's like specifically listed in there that there's absolutely nothing that can remove this door except for a disintegrate spell or actually breaking it to pieces. So they do. They break it to pieces. And as the last remnants of the door like come crashing down, they see down the hallway, there's like at the end of this long hallway, there's this like red glow, and the hallway, the walls are white alabaster, and the floor is smooth polished gray stone, and at the end there's like this red glow. And as soon as they break it open, they don't hear the joyful celebration sounds. They hear like the sounds of torment and people crying out for help and whatever. And so Theophania decides to go down this hallway alone.
She's going to scout ahead.
And she's like, okay, I'm going to check.
She puts on a cloak of invisibility.
Yeah.
I remember
and
that.
she's going to check for traps. And she's very slowly and carefully going along. And I'm like, the way it's described, I was like, okay, there's basically no chance of her finding this trap, but I'll let her make a check. And if she crits, then whatever. So she rolls a 20. She critted. So I was like, well, okay. So she gets partway down there, and she starts to feel like she can tell the floor is like not normal. It's not perfectly stable. And just before it's too late, she realizes that the floor is like a giant beam that's like counterbalanced. And then once you cross a certain point, it's going to tip you down towards the red glowing place. And so, but she realizes that like just in time and easily runs back, and the beam starts and then crashes back into place. So because of her 20, she avoided being tossed down the pit with this and it would be hard to get out of there because it's all polished stone. It's all designed to be super slippery. So having avoided that trap, they decide, well, we still need to find out what's over there. So I think
Farshim flew down there.
Farshim, because he can fly. So I guess that wasn't really that risky. He flew down to the end, and I told him, if you go right to the end, you're going to take some heat damage, but he did anyway. And he flies over there and sees that, yep, it's a big old pit of lava, and flies back like, yep, I was just a trap to a pit of lava. So they did a lot of discussing of like, okay, what if we have to climb down like to the level of the lava or something?
Yeah.
But Theophania, Shannon had already like basically thought of, oh, well, first I want to check. She actually mentioned this, but then it was like, oh, let's deal with this door first and then we'll come back. She'd mentioned, I want to check the bottom of those, pits for secret doors, because
That's happened.
secret doors
before.
Every pit has a secret door in it, right?
Yeah.
Well,
one has.
Yeah, one has so far.
And it's really interesting because that whole hallway is that. So she goes in there, and the first one, she goes down there, and you can immediately see there's like an obvious hidden door that's like just wood painted to look like stones. And she found it right away, and it was super easy. And it's funny because the whole hallway is designed. It talks about this in the thing, that there's like these 3 pits, right, that you open the doors into and fall into. And the whole idea is that by the third one, of course, you know that there's going to be a pit there, so you're going to completely avoid it, and thus not find the secret door.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the whole intention of it.
Yep.
And so, but she was right on that. So she went down there and immediately found the secret door that was there. But that's actually where we ended the session. So we have not opened that secret door yet.
So there is a path of progress ahead of us here still.
You're not entirely stymied and forced to fall in pits of lava or change your genders or lose all your clothes.
Yep. We weren't forced to do any of that, but we did it anyway. We came down here intentionally.
Yes.
Yeah. Now
it was all Pulmonex's idea, right?
Yeah. Now Jean-Claude actually he had a belt of hill giant strength as one of his items.
Okay.
And so Odette is currently borrowing that, but I'm not entirely sure I should be. It doesn't seem right somehow.
There was a lot
Odette's like philosophical, like, everything that's happened is happening for a reason. It all fits together.
So, not to mention that someone claimed that if you take someone's like belt or like a tuned item and then attune it to yourself, it's like getting engaged. Yeah. And like
when Jean-Claude that was, I think Pulmonic was like, oh, when you give a gift of an attuned item of apparel or something like that, that's an engagement proposal.
Well, and we like, at first we were just joking around, but then it just sort of became like everyone accepted it, like, because we haven't defined the setting, so we're like, okay, that's actually it in this setting. And so Jean-Claude is like, they seem to be acting as if they were engaged, though they don't really want to be. Yeah.
So I'm thinking Odette's gonna have to decline this belt for like multiple reasons. Yeah.
Odette is still auto inside.
It's Jean-Claude.
A drunkard.
Yeah, he's drunk and he tells puns. Who wants to marry someone that tells puns constantly?
The worst was like, yeah. Robin's finally getting her comeuppance, or not comeuppance, revenge.
Yep. She's giving comeuppance to other people that don't deserve it.
Yeah, that reminds me of when Odette was raging. Jean-Claude kept telling puns, which
didn't help the rage.
It was just like, I want to end my rage. No more puns.
Yeah, but it led to chest smashing, which led to our path out of here. So that's good. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So
You've still got the Studley room as well.
Yep, we've got the Studley room, and we've got this obvious fake. It's like it was insultingly hidden. Like
it was this
door.
Yeah,
it was. Acererack just painted the word "normal wall" on it.
Yeah, it's designed to be super easy to find, but it is kind of an insult because you didn't. The idea is that it's designed to make you never look there.
Yeah.
If you ever actually look, it's super easy.
Yeah. Barely an inconvenience. Yeah. So yep. At this point, we can tell Acererack is just a colossal jerk. That's the whole point of all this.
That is indeed the whole point of this entire adventure. Is the DM gets to be a jerk.
Yep.
Literally in the text, it's like you know, this happens, and while it sucks for the players, it's hilarious for the DM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.